Welcome back to ETB Boxing, where we tell the story behind every punch and every fight. It's official, Jake Paul will face Gervonta Tank Davis. The fight is set for Friday, November 14th, 2025, live from State Farm Arena in Atlanta, Georgia, streaming worldwide on Netflix. This will be an exhibition bout. It will not count towards their professional careers. The age is close. Jake Paul is 28, Gervonta Davis is 30, but the weight difference is massive. Paul has fought around 200 to 227 pounds. Davis dominated at just 135 pounds. Many expected Davis to fight Lamont Roach Jr. again, but instead he chose Jake Paul, a fight many say is more about money than legacy. Critics suggest Davis doesn't want the risk of losing. Others say Jake Paul's huge audience makes this fight too big to pass up. Paul has been a lightning rod for controversy, bringing his social media following and bold style into the sport of boxing. And promoter Nakisa Bidarian is already talking big. He called Davis David and hinted Paul may chase Anthony Joshua, his Goliath, in the future. So here's the question. Is this just a spectacle? Probably, since it's an exhibition. Or can Tank Davis shock the world and knock out Jake Paul? Who knows? Let's hear what Paulie Malignaggi has to say about this matchup. You're going to want to listen to what he has to say. Watch.
Very confused, Paulie Malignaggi. I'll tell you that, man. This is something real weird, bro. I'll tell you. Gervonta Davis versus Jake Paul. Jake Paul versus Gervonta Davis, however you want to call it. Didn't really see this one coming. I know a lot of people were talking about it. There was the rumor mill. I don't know if you guys at home had heard the rumor mill. This had been being talked about even prior to the Lamont Roach fight. I thought it was so utterly ridiculous, especially that you've essentially manufactured Gervonta into a star without really having him fight any major threats in his career. I know the groupies are gonna say somebody like saying, well, if Leo Santa Cruz is the biggest name on your resume, you got a problem. Like Santa Cruz was probably dying shot by the time he fought Gervonta Davis. Santa Cruz, who 90% of his own resume was against guys he never heard of, and again, it was a one directional fighter who's started at bantamweight and they fought at 130. That's your best win. Pedraza's a solid win, I thought, even though it was a weight drain Pedraza, and Pedraza was so weight drained that he'd actually already lost to Edna Cherry and should have already not been champion by the time Gervonta fought him, but they robbed Edna Cherry in that IBF title defense of Jose Pedraza, so that Pedraza remained champion. I remember because I worked that show and commentated that fight. So it's a sneaky good win, but it's sort of below the radar, not that good of a win. He had a weight drain Pedraza, who went up to lightweight and actually fought better once he didn't have to weight drain himself, and who had been struggling already at 130 prior to being knocked out by Davis. Like I said,
Yeah, but a lot of people, the casual boxing fans, are going to know those little details about, the clauses and the hydration or how much weight they have to come in, or if there's a catch weight. And many times that's going to give an advantage to the A side, or in this case, Gervonta Davis, and he's been known to do that. He did that with Ryan Garcia. Even though he won a knockout, Ryan was completely dehydrated. So there are questions about Gervonta Davis's resume, and I think we wanted to see the Lamont Roach rematch because that was the first fight where he's been in some sort of competition, and Lamont Roach isn't a world beater. He wasn't supposed to do that, but he did. And we're not getting that rematch. Instead, we're getting Jake Paul and Davis.
Lost to Cherry and was lucky to keep the title in the Cherry fight at 130. So Cherry, mind you, a guy that I beat way back in the day. I don't know. It's I beat him easily, like 9 out of 10 rounds, 10 out of 10 rounds, something like that. I don't know. I really don't know what to make of this, man. I sure as hell love to hear the comments. It's gonna generate curiosity for sure. Jake Paul is huge. I mean, this is like, he's gonna be almost a foot bigger than Gervonta Davis. This is an exhibition, so there's not gonna be an official winner unless there's a stoppage. So things like glove size, ring size still has to be dictated and figured out. I don't know. I don't know what you do with this. I don't know what boxing's coming to. This is what happens when you manufacture a star instead of letting stars organically create themselves. You get guys who don't want to test themselves, who've been spoiled and have been able to, make a lot of free money for no reason. Not for no reason. The thing about Gervonta Davis is he is physically talented. I just don't think mentally he was ever that strong of a fighter. And so to not match him with guys who can physically match him, skill for skill and talent for talent, you never get to test his mentality, and the Lamont Roach fight, surprisingly, because Lamont wasn't supposed to be that on that level by the standards of the pre-fight predictions, Lamont took him to that place, and you saw that Gervonta Davis, the questions about Gervonta Davis' mentality and mindset kind of were founded. He started breaking in the fight, taking voluntary knees and getting away with it, and so on and so forth. And that was sort of the knock on Davis. And then you start to realize, in that fight, I think you realize why he's been staying away from the best challenges, the toughest challenges in these fights. Been real, if you look at his resume, I mean, it's a rather weak resume for a guy that's been turned into a star. So
tough words by Paulie. All the Gervonta Davis fans out there, what do you think? Do you think that Davis is a manufactured star and he has a weak resume, or not? Leave me a comment and let me know your opinion. For all the Jake Paul fans, do you think Jake Paul is good for boxing? And all the boxing fans, do you think this fight is good for boxing? Leave me a comment. Let me know what you think. If you enjoyed the material, click like and subscribe to the channel. And we will be back soon. And remember, ETB Boxing is where we tell the story behind every punch.